The universe had always laughed at Earth. To the great empires among the stars, humanity was nothing more than a small, noisy species living on a blue planet far from the galactic core. They called Earth the primitive rock. They said humans were weak, emotional, and undisciplined. But that was before the day of the broadcast. The broadcast came from the Orion Council, a gathering of hundreds of alien races. It was their yearly defense showcase, where different civilizations showed their latest military technology. Ships that could destroy moons, weapons that could tear space itself, all displayed to prove their power. This year, for the first time, Earth was invited. Not out of respect, but as a joke. When Earth's turn came, laughter filled the great hall. Thousands of alien eyes turned to the small human representative, a woman named Commander Sarah Holt. She stood alone on the shining stage, under the glow of 10 suns reflected from the council dome. Her uniform looked plain compared to the golden armor and glowing suits around her. The audience whispered in 100 alien languages. "Is that the species that still uses metal bullets?" One alien snorted. "They probably brought sticks and stones." Another laughed, his long tongue flicking out in mockery. Commander Holt didn't react. She just smiled, calm and steady. Then she pressed a small device on her wrist. A hologram appeared, a large planet, blue and green. "Earth. This," she said softly, "is our home. You call it primitive. We call it tested." The crowd murmured. She zoomed in. The hologram showed images, deserts, oceans, mountains, cities. Then it showed war. Tanks rolling through smoke. Soldiers in mud. Planes fighting in the sky. Nukes. Fire. Rebuilding. Wars again. "For thousands of years," Holt said, her voice calm but sharp, "we have fought ourselves. We have destroyed our own world and built it again. We have known fear, pain, and loss, more than most of you can imagine. And we survived. Every time." Some aliens shifted uncomfortably. "Your ships," Holt continued, "are beautiful. Your weapons are elegant. But tell me, how many of you have fought a war for your very existence? How many of you have looked into the eyes of your own species and seen death coming?" Silence. Then a loud alien laugh broke the tension. A tall creature with 6 eyes, a warlord from the Karth Dominion, rose from his seat. "Pretty words, human," he growled. "But words don't win wars. Show us your power." Holt smiled again. "Gladly." She tapped another command. The hologram changed. A new image appeared, a small spacecraft. Simple, gray, ugly even, compared to the shining alien cruisers. "This," Holt said, "is an Earth Defender-class ship. It's built for one purpose, survival." More laughter. The Karth warlord roared. "You expect us to fear that tin can?" "Not fear," Holt said. "Just respect." Then the hologram split into 2 screens. On one side, the Karth Dominion's warcruiser appeared, a monster of a ship, 20 kilometers long, bristling with plasma cannons. On the other side, the tiny Earth Defender ship. "This is from a recent training simulation," Holt said. "We requested a mock battle with the Dominion, as practice." The crowd laughed again, expecting to see Earth's ship destroyed in seconds. But the footage began to play, and the laughter died. The small defender moved fast, faster than anything that size should move. It weaved through plasma fire, dodging beams by millimeters. Then it vanished from sensors, appearing suddenly behind the Dominion cruiser. Boom! A single railgun shot ripped through the enemy ship's shield. Then another, and another. In 30 seconds, the mighty Dominion cruiser exploded into fragments. Silence filled the hall. Holt spoke quietly. "We don't build pretty ships. We build ships that win." She looked around the room, meeting every alien gaze. "You laughed at us. You called us primitive. But we are the children of war. We learned to fight when our skies burned and our oceans boiled. We do not fear death. We use it." Still, the aliens said nothing. Then, slowly, the Karth warlord stood again. His 6 eyes glowed red. That simulation, he said coldly, was not real. You used tricks. Holt's expression didn't change. You think so? She pressed another button. The hall darkened, and a live feed appeared. Space, black and infinite. A Karth cruiser, identical to the one in the video. This, she said, is happening right now. Everyone leaned forward. The tiny defender ship appeared on the screen, a real one. The Karth cruiser fired its cannons, energy blasts lighting up space. The defender vanished again, just like before. And then, boom. The Karth cruiser exploded. Live. Screams echoed in the council hall. Commander Holt turned off the display and looked at the silent crowd. We asked for peace, she said. We were ignored. We asked for respect. We were mocked. Now you've seen what happens when you underestimate Earth. For the first time in galactic history, no one laughed at the humans. But among the council, some alien eyes narrowed, not with fear, but with hate. And far away, in the dark edges of space, plans began to form. Plans for something worse than war. Because if Earth could strike like that, then maybe, just maybe, humanity had to be stopped before it became unstoppable. After the broadcast, everything changed. Within hours, the news spread through the galaxy like fire. Billions of beings watched the clip of the tiny Earth ship destroying the mighty Karth cruiser. On every planet, on every space station, one question echoed: how did the humans do that? Some called it fake. Others whispered that Earth had found a lost weapon from an ancient race. But deep inside, every commander, every soldier, every ruler felt something new: fear. Earth had become dangerous. Commander Sarah Holt returned to her ship, the ISV Resolve, orbiting near Mars. As the airlock closed behind her, the noise of the Galactic Council faded, replaced by the quiet hum of the engines. She removed her gloves slowly. Her hands were steady, but her eyes showed the weight of what she had done. Her second-in-command, Lieutenant Marcus Dean, met her at the command deck. You just made us the most hated species in the galaxy, he said. Holt gave a tired smile. Or the most respected. Dean sighed. They'll come for us now. I know, she replied. That's why we start preparing. Outside the ship, the Earth Defense Fleet hung in space. Dozens of small, tough ships, nothing beautiful, nothing fancy. Each one designed by necessity, not pride. Their weapons were old by alien standards, but Earth engineers had learned to make old things deadly. On the other side of the galaxy, the Karth Dominion burned with rage. The destruction of their cruiser, live in front of the Council, was the greatest humiliation in their history. In the Dominion war chamber, Warlord Garthos slammed his claws against the steel table. That human worm embarrassed us, he shouted. His advisors trembled. Find out how they did it. I want their planet in ashes. But, Supreme One, said a thin alien beside him, the Council forbids war without approval. Garthos bared his teeth. Then we'll do it in silence. That night, 3 Dominion stealth ships left their home system. Their mission, to reach the Sol system and gather data, or destroy the source of Earth's new weapon. Back on Earth, humans celebrated. News networks called Commander Holt a hero. Children waved flags, shouting, Earth first. For the first time, humanity felt united. But not everyone was celebrating. In a dark control room deep under Geneva, the Earth Defense Command studied signals from space. General Pierce, head of global defense, stared at the holographic map. 3 unknown ships, he said quietly, heading straight toward us. Holt was summoned immediately. They're coming, Pierce said, pointing at the map. Probably Karth. Holt's expression didn't change. Then let them come. They'll see what happens when you invade our system. 2 days later, the stealth ships arrived at the edge of the solar system. Cloaked from sensors, they drifted silently past Neptune, scanning everything. Primitive satellites, one pilot sneered. No threat. But as they approached Mars, Alarms began to flash. "Detection systems activated," shouted another pilot. "How?" "We're invisible." Before he could finish, something streaked past their ship, a missile. It wasn't guided by fancy AI or quantum tech. It was simple, brutal, human. The first stealth ship exploded in a silent flash. "Evade! Evade!" The second ship turned hard, trying to hide in the planet's shadow. But a beam of railgun fire sliced it in half. Only one ship survived long enough to send a warning back home: Earth defenses, too strong, not primitive. And then it too vanished. The message reached Garthos. He crushed the communicator in rage. "So be it," he hissed. "If they want war, they'll have war." Meanwhile, on Earth, Commander Holt stood on the bridge of the Resolve. She watched the last fragments of the enemy ships drift through space. Marcus turned to her. "That's 3 down. But they'll send more." "I know," Holt said softly. "And next time, they won't come quietly." She looked out at the stars, cold, endless, beautiful. Somewhere out there, 1,000 alien worlds were now watching Earth. Some were afraid. Some were angry. Some were curious. But one thing was certain: they would not ignore humanity again. That night, Holt couldn't sleep. She sat in her cabin, staring at a small photo, a picture of Earth taken from the moon. So small, so fragile. She whispered to herself, "They think we're monsters now. Maybe we have to be." Outside her window, the stars flickered. One of them pulsed red, a signal. Unknown origin. Her communicator buzzed. "Commander," said General Pierce's voice, sharp and urgent. "We've got new intel. The Dominion fleet is moving. 20 warships, heading this way." Holt stood up instantly. "How long?" 3 days. She looked again at the photo of Earth, then at the dark window of space. "Then we fight," she said. And for the first time in human history, the people of Earth prepared not for a war on their planet, but a war for it. Far away, in the silent dark, alien fleets began to gather. Some came to destroy Earth. Some came to study it. And some came to see if the stories were true, that humanity, once pushed to the edge, could become something unstoppable. The galaxy had mocked Earth. Now, it would learn fear. The countdown to war had begun. Every news channel on Earth showed the same headline: "Alien fleet approaching, humanity prepares for battle." The Dominion fleet was still 3 days away, but already, the skies above Earth were filled with ships. The once quiet orbit now glowed with the silver light of the Earth Defense Fleet. Hundreds of vessels, small but deadly. In command of them all stood Commander Sarah Holt aboard the ISV Resolve. She watched the data stream across the holographic table. Dozens of red dots, moving fast toward the solar system. Lieutenant Marcus Dean looked tense. 20 Dominion ships, he said. Each one bigger than ours by 10 times. Holt didn't blink. "Size isn't everything. You know that." Marcus gave a shaky smile. "I know. But it sure helps." Holt leaned forward. "Not when you're fighting humans." Down on Earth, factories worked non-stop. Engineers, soldiers, and scientists worked side by side. Drones flew through the air, delivering weapons and parts to launch sites. The moon bases loaded missiles. Mars colonies activated defense cannons. Even civilians were preparing, not with fear, but with unity. Every screen, every message carried the same phrase: "We stand for Earth." Meanwhile, in the darkness between stars, the Dominion fleet advanced. Their commander, Warlord Garthos, stood on his massive flagship, the Blood Rain. His voice rumbled through the command chamber. "They think they can stand against us. They will learn what true power is." His second officer, a tall creature with pale scales, hesitated. "But, Supreme One, the humans destroyed 3 of our stealth ships. We should not underestimate." "Silence!" Garthos roared. "They used tricks and luck. I will crush them myself." The Dominion fleet, entered the edge of the solar system. Jupiter's stormy shadow flashed across their hulls. Energy weapons warmed up. Shields hummed with deadly light. The war had come to Earth. On the Resolve, alarms blared. "Contact!" Marcus shouted. "They're here." The holographic table filled with red, enemy ships entering Mars orbit. "Signal the fleet," Holt ordered. "Form up in 3 waves. Don't engage until they cross the Mars line." "Understood." The Earth fleet moved like a single organism, ships forming arcs and triangles. From a distance, it looked like a swarm of insects facing down giant beasts. The Dominion fleet slowed, scanning the human defenses. "This is Warlord Garthos of the Karth Dominion," came a deep voice over the comm. "Surrender your world and live as our servants. Resist, and die." Holt's face stayed calm. She pressed the comm button. "This is Commander Sarah Holt of Earth. You came all this way, Garthos. Why not see what happens when we say no?" Garthos growled. "Then you die first." The first shot came from the Dominion, a massive plasma beam, bright as a sun, slicing across space. It hit 3 human ships, vaporizing them instantly. Marcus gritted his teeth. "We lost the Vanguard, Luna's Cry, and Horizon." Holt didn't flinch. "Return fire." Hundreds of railguns and missile pods opened up. Metal slugs screamed through space, followed by waves of kinetic missiles. Unlike alien energy weapons, human projectiles didn't glow. They were almost invisible until impact. And when they hit hard. One Dominion cruiser exploded, then another. The aliens shouted in confusion. "Their weapons, they pierce our shields." Garthos snarled. "Increase power. Destroy them." The battle became chaos. Ships weaved, dodged, and exploded in silence. The black space lit up with flashes of orange fire. "On the Resolve," Marcus shouted. "We can't hold much longer. We're outnumbered." "Then we stop thinking like soldiers," Holt said. "It's time to think like humans." She gave an order the fleet had trained for but never tested: Operation Eclipse. Dozens of small drones launched from hidden bays. They didn't carry weapons. They carried mirrors, giant, flexible sheets coated with reflective armor. The drones moved fast, forming a massive curved wall between Earth and the Sun. For a moment, everything went dark. Then, the mirrors turned. A beam of concentrated sunlight focused into a single point, right onto the Dominion flagship. The blood rain burned. Its shields melted like ice under a torch. Garthos roared. "What is this?" "Sunlight," Holt whispered. "You don't own it, but it kills just fine." The beam cut deeper. The flagship exploded in a burst of flame. Cheers filled every human ship. Marcus laughed. "You did it. The flagship is gone." But Holt didn't smile. Her eyes stayed on the scanner. Something was wrong. In the wreckage of the flagship, a signal pulsed, faint, but growing. "Commander," said the AI voice of the Resolve. "Unidentified energy source detected. It's massive." A new shape appeared, larger than any ship before. Dark, metallic, covered in spikes. Marcus froze. "What is that?" Holt stared. "That's no cruiser." The ship's eyes glowed red. A voice echoed through space, deep, mechanical, ancient. "I am the overlord of the Dominion. Garthos was only my shadow. And you, humans, you've just woken the real war." The signal cut. Silence filled the bridge. Holt whispered. "So this was only the beginning." And far below, on Earth, people looked to the sky, watching strange lights flicker in the night. None of them knew yet that the true enemy had just arrived. The battlefield had gone silent. For a few long seconds, the stars seemed to stop moving. The Dominion flagship was gone, but the space it once filled now glowed with something darker, a shadow in the shape of a ship larger than a continent. On the Resolve, no one spoke. Every screen flickered with static as strange signals poured through. Marcus swallowed. That thing. It's blocking half our sensors. Commander Holt stared at the dark form. Its surface shimmered like liquid metal, constantly shifting, reshaping. It looked alive. Then a cold voice filled every channel. Humans. You destroyed a single fleet. You killed one of my generals. Now you face me, the Overlord. The sound was heavy, vibrating through the hull. Holt kept her tone calm. We've faced gods before, she said. And we buried them. The Overlord's laughter echoed through space. Brave words for creatures born in mud. Without warning, the giant ship opened fire. Red beams sliced across space, burning through asteroids, planets, and ships alike. 10 human vessels vanished in seconds. Shields failing. Marcus shouted. If we stay here, we're finished. Retreat to fallback point Delta, Holt ordered. All ships disengage. The fleet turned and scattered, heading toward the dark side of Mars. The Overlord didn't chase. Instead, he spoke again. You can run. But you can't hide. I will take your planet. Your skies will burn. Then the transmission ended. Inside the command deck, alarms dimmed. Only the low hum of life support remained. Holt gripped the console, her knuckles white. Marcus looked at her. What do we do now? We find a way to kill a god, she said quietly. 2 hours later, the human fleet regrouped behind Mars. Engineers worked furiously, patching damage and counting losses. Half of Earth's ships were gone. On Earth, panic had begun to spread. Cities went dark to avoid detection. The moon bases sent distress signals, begging for help. General Pierce appeared on the Resolve's holoscreen. His face was lined with exhaustion. Commander, we can't stop that ship. Its energy readings are beyond anything we've ever seen. There's always a way, Holt said. Even monsters bleed. Pierce nodded slowly. There might be something, but it's risky. Go on. Project Atlas, Pierce said. The experimental system we built under Antarctica. It's unfinished, unstable, but it's the only thing that might match that power. Marcus frowned. The fusion core? That's a planetary weapon. Holt's eyes hardened. Then it's exactly what we need. The Resolve broke formation and sped toward Earth. As it entered orbit, the blue planet looked peaceful, innocent, unaware of the storm coming. They landed near the southern ice fields, where a massive underground facility waited, hidden for decades. Inside, deep beneath the ice, giant turbines hummed. Engineers rushed to prepare the weapon. A massive chamber glowed with blue light, the heart of Project Atlas. Pierce met Holt at the entrance. This device can focus the planet's magnetic field into a directed pulse, he explained. If we aim it right, we might disable that monster's shields. But the power draw will destroy everything around it. How big an area? Holt asked. Pierce hesitated. All of Antarctica. Holt looked at him for a long moment, then said, Do it. Pierce nodded grimly. You'll need to lure the Overlord close enough. If he stays too far, the pulse won't reach him. Holt turned to Marcus. You up for another suicide run? Marcus smiled weakly. Wouldn't miss it. Hours later, the Resolve rose again into space. The Overlord ship loomed near Earth's orbit, its red glow casting a shadow across the moon. Open channel, Holt said. The Overlord's voice responded instantly. So the ants return. Have you come to beg for mercy? Not mercy, Holt said. A challenge. The alien paused. A challenge. You think we're weak? Face us up close. Prove it. The Overlord laughed, a sound like grinding metal. Very well. I enjoy breaking brave ones. The giant ship moved forward, casting its shadow over the Resolve. Its weapons charged. Range? Holt asked. Marcus checked the readings. Almost there. Almost. The Overlord fired, a single massive beam aimed directly at the Resolve. "Now!" Holt shouted. Back on Earth, deep beneath the ice, General Pierce slammed the final switch. The planet screamed. A blinding pulse of blue energy erupted from Antarctica, racing into the sky, wrapping around the planet's magnetic field. It shot upward like lightning, striking the Overlord's ship head-on. For a moment, everything was white. Then the light faded. The Overlord's ship drifted, silent, cracked, its red glow gone. Marcus whispered, "We did it. We actually did it." But Holt didn't celebrate. Her scanners still showed a faint signal, a heartbeat inside the wreckage. "Commander," said the AI, "the Overlord is still alive." The massive ship began to move again, slowly turning toward Earth. A voice came through, weaker but full of fury. "You think you can kill me with light?" Holt's face turned pale. "He's not finished." Below, the ice of Antarctica began to melt, glowing red from the overload. "General Pierce!" Holt shouted into the comm. "Shut it down." "I can't," he answered. "It's gone critical." The ground cracked open. The Atlas core was about to explode, a blast that could destroy half the planet. Holt made her choice. She turned to Marcus. "Prepare the ship for dive. We're going in." Marcus stared. "Into the explosion?" "Yes," she said. "If we can direct the blast, we can take him with us." He nodded. "For Earth." "For Earth," she echoed. The Resolve turned toward the dying planet below and plunged into the storm. The Overlord's ship followed. The Resolve dived through fire. Below it, Antarctica was no longer ice, it was light. A storm of blue energy burst upward, spreading through the clouds like veins of lightning. The air burned. The ocean boiled. Commander Sarah Holt held her breath as the ship shook violently. Every alarm screamed. Marcus yelled, "Shields at maximum. Hull temperature rising fast." "Keep her steady," Holt shouted back. "We only get one chance." Outside, the Overlord's ship followed, its metal wings spreading like a shadow across the sky. Even damaged, it moved with terrifying speed. The voice returned, louder now, echoing in every system. "You cannot stop me, human. Your world will be my forge." "Let's see if your forge can survive a star," Holt replied coldly. The Resolve reached the heart of the storm, the Atlas core. It was spinning faster than ever, energy building toward detonation. Marcus stared at the readings. Power levels beyond control. "If this goes off, it will go off," Holt said. "We just have to make sure it takes him with it." She activated the ship's magnetic anchors, locking onto the Overlord's hull. The two ships became one, predator and prey bound together. "Now we ride the storm," she whispered. The Atlas core exploded. From space, it looked like Earth had burst into a second sun. A wave of light spread outward, tearing through orbit. Every satellite, every ship, gone in a blink. For a moment, the stars themselves disappeared. Then, silence. When the light faded, the Earth was still there, scarred but whole. The ice of Antarctica was gone, replaced by a massive glowing crater. The oceans steamed, the clouds burned red. High above the planet, fragments of the Overlord's ship drifted, black and lifeless. The Resolve was gone. All around the world, people watched the skies, waiting for something, a signal, a voice, any sign that their defenders were alive. None came. 4 days, the planet stayed quiet. Then, on the 7th day, a signal appeared. Weak. Distorted. Coming from orbit. "This is Commander Sarah Holt. Resolve, damaged but operational." Cheers erupted across Earth. The hero was alive. But her message didn't end there. Her voice grew faint. "We stopped the Overlord, but the explosion did something, changed something. The stars, they're different now." The signal cut off. 3 weeks later, a rescue ship finally found the Resolve. It floated in dark space beyond the moon, half destroyed, its hull burned black. Inside, only 2 people were still alive, Commander Holt and Lieutenant Marcus. Both looked pale and weak. The rescue team carried them to medical bay. When Holt finally opened her eyes, General Pierce was there. "You did it," he said softly. "You saved Earth." Holt shook her head slowly. "No, General. We changed it." Pierce frowned. "What do you mean?" She pointed to the window. "Look." Outside, Earth hung in space, but it was glowing faintly, surrounded by a thin blue halo. "Our planet's magnetic field," she said. "Atlas fused it with the explosion. The whole planet's energy has evolved." Pierce stared in shock. "Is it dangerous?" Holt's eyes were distant. "Not to us. But the Overlord, he called this world a forge." Maybe he was right. Far from Earth, in the ruins of the Dominion fleet, something stirred. Fragments of the Overlord's ship floated silently, until one of them pulsed red. Inside the wreckage, dark energy gathered. Slowly, painfully, the Overlord's core began to reform. "I was forged in war," his voice whispered, weak but alive. "And now, so are you." Back on Earth, strange things began to happen. Satellites picked up magnetic storms that didn't follow any known pattern. Machines powered themselves without fuel. Lightning struck clear skies. Scientists couldn't explain it. Holt stood at the window of her recovery room, watching blue light ripple across the clouds. Marcus entered quietly. "Looks like Earth got a little upgrade," he joked weakly. She didn't smile. "We turned our planet into a weapon," she said. "But we don't even understand it." He looked out at the glowing sky. "Maybe that's not so bad. They'll think twice before attacking us again." Holt shook her head. "You don't get it, Marcus. The Atlas core didn't just defend us. It changed the planet's frequency, shifted it into another layer of space." Marcus frowned. "Meaning?" She looked up. "Meaning, we're not alone here anymore." As if answering her, the sky flickered. For a moment, Earth's clouds parted, revealing shapes, giant, ghost-like figures moving between the stars. They weren't ships. They weren't human. Marcus stepped back in shock. "What are those?" Holt whispered. "Something that was waiting, on the other side." The lights faded. The sky returned to normal. Marcus turned to her. "So what now?" Holt looked at the glowing planet below. "Now," she said softly, "we find out what we've woken up." She touched the window, her reflection shimmering in the blue light. "Because if the Overlord survives, and those things come through, Earth will need to be ready for a war that's not just about survival." Marcus nodded slowly. "A war for reality itself." The two stood in silence, watching their changed world turn below, glowing brighter every minute as if alive. And far beyond the solar system, in the black between galaxies, unseen eyes opened, drawn to the light of a small blue planet that had just shouted its name into the universe. Humanity was no longer a joke. Now, it was a threat. The blue glow never faded. Weeks after the Atlas explosion, Earth still shimmered like a living star. At night, the skies danced with strange lights, and the oceans whispered with energy. Radios filled with static that sometimes sounded like voices. Commander Sarah Holt had returned to duty, though the doctors said she should rest. She couldn't. Every day, she felt the planet humming beneath her feet, as if Earth itself had begun to breathe. From orbit, the glow looked even stronger. The Resolve was repaired just enough to fly again, though its scars ran deep. Lieutenant Marcus stood beside her on the bridge. "The whole planet's changing," he said quietly. "It's beautiful, and terrifying." Holt nodded. "It's not evolution. It's reaction. We opened something." "Opened what?" he asked. Before she could answer, the comm crackled. "Commander, this is General Pierce. We've got something you need to see." Hours later, Holt stood in the Geneva command room. On the main screen, a live feed from the Deep Space Telescope showed a new image, ripples in space forming around Earth, like waves on water. Pierce explained, they appeared 48 hours ago. Energy readings are off the charts. They're not natural. Suddenly, one of the ripples flared. A shape emerged, enormous, transparent, glowing faintly gold. Marcus whispered, "That's one of the things we saw in the clouds." The figure drifted closer. It wasn't a ship, it was like a being made of light, with no clear form, sometimes a face, sometimes a spiral of energy. A deep voice filled the room, not through speakers, but directly inside their minds. "You have called us." Everyone froze. Holt stepped forward slowly. "Who are you?" "We are the Echoes. Long ago, we lived in the space between your worlds. The Atlas pulse broke the wall. Now we return." Pierce's jaw tightened. "Return? You've been here before. Your kind was not yet awake. You were dust. But now you shine." The hologram flickered. Scientists whispered to each other, trying to measure the impossible. Holt asked, "What do you want from us?" The answer came like thunder. "Balance." And then the figure vanished. The lights in the room flickered. Pierce exhaled. "What in God's name does that mean?" Holt looked uneasy. "It means they didn't come to attack us. But they might destroy us anyway." Over the next few days, more echoes appeared, hovering above cities, oceans, and deserts. They didn't speak again, but they watched. People on Earth reacted in chaos. Some worshipped them as angels. Others fled underground, calling them invaders. The governments called them spectral entities. In orbit, the Resolve tracked the phenomena. Every time one appeared, energy spikes followed, magnetic storms, gravity shifts, even time distortions. Marcus stared at the data. "They're feeding off the Atlas energy. It's like Earth is powering them." Holt frowned. "Or they're powering Earth." Pierce contacted them again. "Commander, the Council has demanded an explanation. They think we unleashed a weapon that could end the galaxy." Holt clenched her fists. "Maybe they're right. But we'll fix this." Before Pierce could reply, an alarm cut through the channel. "Commander! Long-range sensors, something's coming through the far side of the ripples." Holt turned to Marcus. "Put it on screen." The image shifted, revealing a new fleet emerging from the distortion. Black ships, sharp like blades, glowing with the same red light as the Dominion. Marcus's voice dropped. "It's him. It's the Overlord." Holt stared in disbelief. "But he was destroyed." Pierce's voice shouted through static. "He's rebuilt himself, using the same energy as the Echoes." The transmission cut. The Overlord's voice filled every channel. "You humans think you wielded power. But you only opened the door for me." His new ship, larger than before, moved through space effortlessly. Energy from the Echoes flowed into it like rivers of light feeding a storm. One of the Echoes turned toward him, its golden light brightening, almost like anger. The Overlord spoke again. "Even you, ancient ones, cannot stop me now." He fired a single pulse. The Echo exploded into 1,000 shards of light. Holt whispered, "He's killing them." Marcus gritted his teeth. "Then he's still afraid of them. Or he's stealing their power," Holt replied. Back on Earth, storms formed across the sky as the Overlord's energy bled into the atmosphere. Lightning struck endlessly, cities lost power, and the oceans began to rise. Holt opened a secure channel to all human ships. "This is Commander Holt. The Overlord has returned. This time he's not just after Earth, he's after whatever lies beyond it. We stop him here, or there won't be a universe left to save." The Resolve launched again, joined by every remaining defense ship. Marcus checked the systems. "Our weapons can't match him." Holt looked at the planet below. "Maybe not. But the Echoes can." She opened the comm to the sky itself. "Echoes! You said we called you. Then listen, help us protect this world, or you'll have nothing left to guard." For a long moment, nothing happened. Then the sky answered. Hundreds of echoes appeared, brighter than before, surrounding Earth in rings of golden light. The Overlord roared, "Fools! You side with insects." The echoes spoke as one voice. "They are awake now. And so are we." They moved toward him. Space ignited, gold against red, light against shadow. Holt gripped the controls. "Let's finish this." The Resolve dove straight into the heart of the battle, its hull glowing with reflected light. Marcus smiled despite the chaos. "Commander, this is insane." She smiled back. "That's humanity for you." And as the ship disappeared into the storm between dimensions, the fate of every world, human and alien, hung in the balance. The battle above Earth had no sound, but it shook the stars. Golden light and red fire tore through the black void as the echoes and the Dominion Overlord clashed. Space twisted, ripples of energy stretching across the sky. Every human on the planet below could see it, flashes brighter than the sun, painting the clouds with strange colors. On the bridge of the Resolve, Commander Sarah Holt gripped the controls. Sparks burst from the ceiling, alarms blared, but she didn't stop. Marcus shouted, "Shields down to 40%. Keep pushing." Holt yelled back, "We get close enough, we can strike the core." Through the front window, the Overlord's massive ship filled their view, a mountain of black metal wrapped in red lightning. Around it, echoes swirled like living stars, trying to hold him back. But the Overlord's power was growing, fueled by the Atlas energy that still radiated from Earth. "Look at him," Marcus said. "He's draining the planet." Holt's eyes hardened. "Then we cut the line." She sent the ship diving straight toward the Overlord's central beam, the Crimson Stream linking him to Earth. Inside the Overlord's ship, the alien watched the approaching human vessel. His new form was more machine than flesh now, his face a mask of molten iron. "Persistent creatures," he growled. "You should have burned with your world." He raised a clawed hand, sending a blast of red energy at the Resolve. The human ship spun, narrowly avoiding the strike. Metal groaned, panels shattered, but the engines held. Marcus smiled tightly. He missed. Holt didn't smile. He never misses twice. The second blast hit them dead on. The Resolve tumbled, smoke pouring from its sides. "Engines failing!" Marcus cried. Holt's voice stayed calm. "Divert all power to the railgun." "What?" "We won't have shields. We won't need them." Below, on Earth, people watched helplessly. The skies thundered, the oceans churned. General Pierce stood in the Geneva command room, listening to the faint signal from the Resolve. "She's going to ram him," one officer whispered. Pierce clenched his fists. "Then she's doing what humans always do, fighting until there's nothing left." He turned to the technicians. "Patch me through to her." Static crackled. Then Holt's voice came through, strained but steady. "General," Pierce said softly, "you don't have to do this." Holt looked at the burning Overlord ship ahead. "Yes, I do. This isn't just about Earth anymore. It's about who we are." She cut the line. The Resolve stabilized just enough to aim. Marcus loaded the final shot, a single tungsten slug, the last round they had. "Ready," he said. Holt nodded. "Target, the energy core. Fire when I say." The Overlord roared again, summoning a storm of red lightning. Echoes tried to block it, but he swatted them aside. Several exploded into golden dust. Holt looked at them, then at Earth below, glowing, alive, almost breathing. "If you can hear me," she whispered to the echoes, "lend us your strength." For a second, nothing happened. Then the Resolve systems lit up with golden light. Power surged through every cable, every weapon. The ship stopped falling and steadied itself, glowing brighter than ever. Marcus stared in awe. "They're inside the ship, helping us." Holt smiled. "Then let's end this together." She pushed the controls forward. "Fire!" The railgun launched its last shot. The slug, glowing gold and red, tore through space and slammed into the Overlord's chest. A blinding explosion followed, light, color, silence. The Overlord screamed, his voice shaking the stars. "You cannot destroy me. I am eternal." Holt's voice answered through the comms, calm and strong. "So are we." The Resolve plunged into the explosion, its hull melting away as it rammed through the Overlord's heart. The sky turned white. When the light faded, there was nothing. No ship. No Overlord. Only golden dust drifting through the black. The echoes spread across the sky, forming a vast ring of light around Earth. Then, slowly, they vanished, one by one, until only the blue glow of the planet remained. Down below, silence. Then cheers. Cries. Laughter. Humanity had survived again. In Geneva, General Pierce stared at the quiet sky. "She did it," he whispered. "Sarah Holt actually did it." Days passed. Weeks. A memorial was built in orbit, a floating monument where the Resolve had vanished. On its surface, a single line was engraved. "They laughed at Earth's defenders, until humanity struck back hard." But sometimes, when the night sky was clear, strange golden lights flickered among the stars, and those who watched closely swore they could hear a voice whisper through the static. "Still here. Still watching." Far beyond the Milky Way, in the quiet edge of another galaxy, a small sphere of light drifted, half metal, half spirit. Inside it, Sarah Holt opened her eyes. She floated weightless, surrounded by shimmering golden mist. Her body was gone, but she was still herself. A voice, gentle, vast, spoke to her. "You gave everything, human." "Why?" "Because we don't quit," she said softly. "We defend our home, no matter how small it seems." The light around her pulsed warmly. "Then you have earned a place among us. The echoes will remember." Holt looked toward a distant point of light, her planet. "Just make sure they live free," she said. "They will. And they will grow." The light folded in on itself, and Sarah Holt became part of the stars, a guardian woven into the very energy that saved her world. Years later, children on Earth would point to a faint golden ring that circled the planet and ask what it was. Their parents would smile and say, "That's the shield of humanity. That's where our defenders rest." And somewhere beyond sight, in the endless dark, a voice of iron and pride whispered back, "We are Earth. We are the joke that fought back."